The history of humanity is full of incredible moments, but it's also been marked by a constant search to find a cure for illnesses. Imagine living many years ago in a world without pain relievers, without magic medicines that cure you quickly. Back then, people looked for pain relief with methods that would scare us today. In this series, we're going to travel through time to learn about the most painful home remedies of antiquity. Get ready to discover techniques that will give you goosebumps and the strangest ingredients, all to understand how our ancestors faced illnesses with incredible bravery. Join me in discovering those medical practices that, although they seem horrible to us now, at the time, were the only hope for those who were suffering. Let's go first to ancient China, where the sound of fire mixed with the cries of patience. Cupping, a remedy used for many years, sought to balance the body's energy, which they called qi. But how did they think they could achieve that balance? By causing terrible pain. Imagine the scene. A line of people waiting their turn, with fear and nerves, while the healer heats small glass spheres in the fire. When the spheres were hot enough, they would put them directly on the person's skin. Ouch! As the air inside the spheres cooled, the skin was sucked inward, causing blisters and bruises. Although today we know that cupping doesn't really work, there are still people who use it as a reminder of a past where pain was confused with a cure. Now let's look at an even more frightening and disturbing ritual: trepanation. Imagine a world without anesthesia, where surgeries were performed with very simple tools and a lot of determination and courage. Trepanation, which involved drilling a hole in the skull, was considered the solution for many ailments, from epileptic seizures to the belief that a person was possessed by a demon. The patient, tied with ropes or held tightly, faced terrible pain, with only a few herbs or a little alcohol to endure it. Through that hole in the skull, the healers claimed to release the evil spirits that tormented the patient. Incredible as it may seem, many people survived this brutal procedure, albeit with indelible scars, both on the body and mind. The drilled skulls that we find at archaeological sites are chilling proof of human resilience and how far our ancestors went in search of healing and relief. In ancient Egypt and Greece, blood was like the queen of the body. They believed it controlled health and balance. They had a theory that diseases were due to an imbalance in the body's fluids. That's why they did something called bloodletting. To eliminate the disease, doctors used leeches or sharp blades to draw blood. Leeches, those slimy little critters that feed on blood, were placed on the skin to suck out the bad blood. But instead of curing, bloodletting usually made the disease worse, weakening the patient and exposing them to dangerous infections. Despite not working and even being dangerous, bloodletting was used for centuries, an example of how wrong medical beliefs could last so long. Nature is wise, but it can also be dangerous. It gives us remedies and poisons, and in ancient times it was difficult to tell the difference. Herbs, with their power to heal and harm, were used in a kind of dangerous game between life and death. To eliminate the evils of the body, they would give herbal concoctions that caused vomiting and diarrhea. These potions, instead of relieving, unleashed a storm inside the body, making the person vomit and have diarrhea non-stop. If too much of these poisonous herbs were used, the person could die a slow and painful death. Seeking a cure became a dangerous game, where remedy and poison were separated by a very fine line. In a world without anesthesia, surgery was a brutal experience, the last option for those on the verge of death. Cauterization, which involved burning the skin with a hot iron, was used to stop bleeding and prevent infections. Imagine the scene: a patient held by several people gritting their teeth to avoid screaming. The smell of burning flesh filled the air as the surgeon, with a steady hand, applied the hot iron to the wound. The pain must have been unbearable, running through the entire body. Despite its brutality, cauterization had a purpose. In a world full of infections, fire was a basic form of sterilization, sealing wounds and preventing gangrene. However, the price was high, leaving horrible scars, a reminder of the torment that had been endured in order to survive. In nature, leeches are incredible creatures, designed to feed on blood efficiently and accurately. But in the history of medicine, these little vampires have played an even more interesting and strange role. From ancient Greece to the 19th century, leeches were used to treat a wide range of ailments, from headaches to mental and physical problems. It was believed that these blood-sucking worms could balance the body's fluids, drawing out bad blood and purifying it. Applying the leeches was relatively simple, although not pleasant for the patient. They were placed on the patient's skin and attached themselves with their small jaws, releasing a substance that numbed the area so that the person would not feel any pain. Although it is not known for sure if they worked, leech therapy was used for centuries, proof of the belief in the healing power of nature, even in its strangest and sometimes unpleasant forms for patients. When we remember these ancient remedies, it's normal to feel horror and fascination at the same time, a mix of emotions. Horror at the pain our ancestors endured to heal themselves, and fascination with the human capacity to resist and have hope, even in the most difficult and darkest of times. Luckily, medicine has come a long way since the days of bloodletting and boiling enemas. Today, thanks to science and research, we have effective treatments and, most importantly, more humane and less painful ones. However, these practices from the past remind us how important it is to keep learning, to question what we know, and to be compassionate in caring for people's health. I hope you found this journey through the history of medicine as interesting as I did. Don't forget to leave your comments and tell me which of these ancient remedies you find the most painful. And don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating and historical content.